Today I'm making my one-pot stovetop creamy cheeseburger mac, and I'm going to show you a refreshing freshwater drink to keep you hydrated all summer long. This is going to be good. Okay, so today for dinner, I'm making, it's not Hamburger Helper, but it almost is. I'm starting with 1 pound of lean ground beef, 12 ounces of elbow macaroni. I'm using the large elbow macaroni. I'm going with 4 ounces of Velvetta cheese and an 8-ounce bag of pre-shredded mild cheddar cheese. And I'll be using some half and half, maybe like a cup or so. Okay, so in a preheated pot, I'm adding my lean ground beef, and I'm just going to break that apart and start to cook it. If you're using something like 80-20 meat to fat ratio, you'll probably have to drain out a lot of that rendered fat, but this is lean, so I'm not gonna have to do that. Okay, so breaking this apart, and if you haven't figured this out yet, this is pretty much inspired by that box of Hamburger Helper that we probably all grew up on, but you know, like homemade sort of. Okay, so I'm going with 2 teaspoons of beef bouillon powder. I'm going to add some granulated onion powder. I'm also going to add some granulated garlic powder. And I'm sort of eyeballing things as I always do, but you can do like a half teaspoon of each and, you know, adjust. Here I'm adding like a half teaspoon of smoked paprika into the mix. And I'm going to add some cracked black pepper. Things like salt and pepper, ratios of these dry spices and seasonings, it's really to your preference, so adjust accordingly. So I'm going to continue breaking apart the meat and cooking. Okay, so I have my macaroni bag cut open because it's almost time to add it. And I want to show you, the ground beef is cooked. You want to taste it for salt and seasoning at this point. And you'll notice I really don't have a lot of rendered fat in the pan. So that's what I was kind of talking about earlier. Okay, so I'm going to add my 12 ounces of uncooked elbow macaroni. And no one gets left behind. Okay, going into the pot here, and I'm going to combine this well. I'm not toasting it like I would fideo or conchitas. I just want I want to mix this into the ground meat. So once this is combined, you can add a low sodium broth. I'm just going to start with 2 cups of water. And as soon as I added the 2 cups of water, I do this from time to time, but like I said, I always eyeball everything. I realized I need more water, so I'm going to add an extra cup. In all, somewhere like 2.5 to 3 cups of water works for this recipe. I'm going with 3 cups of water. So I'm going to add this right into the pot here. Give it a mix. I'm going to cover with a lid and bring that up to a boil. Once it's boiling like this, I'm going to uncover it because you want some of this water to evaporate rapidly, and I'm going to cook this for 9 to 10 minutes or until you reach the desired doneness of your pasta or elbow macaroni. Okay, so I am making agua de sandía. This is a watermelon freshwater drink, and I'm working with half of it today. The other half, I'm going to use it another day. But I'm scooping everything out, and any juice left in this watermelon half is going in the bowl. I'm going to place everything in my blender cup, and if it's super sweet or you don't want sugar, don't add it. I'm going to add just a couple tablespoons. So here I measured out a 1/3 cup of sugar, and I'm only using half of it. I'm adding a cup of water, and I am going to blend and puree, and that's it. That is the drink. And once this is all blended up, and this was a seedless watermelon, by the way, you could strain it if it has seeds. I'm adding it to a pitcher with 1 pound of ice, and this is going along with my cheeseburger mac. It's going to be good. Okay, so after about 9 to 10 minutes of boiling, you see the water has definitely reduced, but there still is liquid in this pot. At this point, it's kind of brothy because I did add that beef bouillon powder. So now it's time to add the cheese. Like I said, this is a 1-pot mac and cheese, essentially, with ground beef in it. So I'm going in with all of my cheeses right into the pot. And I did turn down the heat to a low heat. I don't want to burn the cheese. Okay, so now just give it a really good mix and let the cheese melt before adding the half and half. And you want that to sort of start melting and combine it with your cooked elbow macaroni and ground beef. And like I said earlier, you could start with a cup of half and half. If you don't have half and half, I've done this with whole milk. It definitely works. Just add maybe 3/4 of a cup of milk, mix, let it kind of simmer just slightly, and then add more if need be. But at this point, once the cheese is melted and the half and half is combined, everything is melty, gooey, and cooked, shut off the heat. It's done. And here you have a homemade version of one of my favorite Hamburger Helper cheeseburger mac. It's very simple to make. That bag of elbow macaroni, by the way, I managed to get that for 99 cents. The ground beef was on sale. So this is a pretty budget-friendly meal that goes a long way. I have been on this like one pasta bowl meal kick lately where I don't even add sides. I have tons of like cucumber and carrots in the fridge. Sometimes my son will eat that on the side with meals, but this is it. And now I'm going to pour this ice cold watermelon drink, agua de sandia. I grew up on this and it's so hot outside, so make some of this and stay hydrated. Dinner is ready. We've got our drinks. Time to eat. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.